Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at the Buggy starter deck. They've revealed the list for the Buggy starter deck, and look, we have got to give some love right now to whoever it is over at Bandai making these deck lists, because they are absolutely nailing the assignment. There's a couple of things I was looking for this Buggy list, and they're in here. Essentially, as somebody who follows the metagame very closely and really wants this deck to be good, I'm looking at this going, well, they've got to put this and this in there, haven't they? And they have. Because clearly the people making the deck have gone, well, if we're going to be doing this, we probably should be putting these cards in there as well. And I cannot say enough good things about this. I think they've absolutely nailed it. Good. Good. Now, starting off with the reprints, we're not going to go straight in order. We're going to deal with the two most important ones for the time being. Obviously, they've given us that 10-cost Buggy. I told you a couple of times here that they had to give us that 10-cost Buggy. They had to. Because the whole deck is really built around getting and keeping 5-cost or higher cross-guild characters in play. And the reason for that is because of this 10-cost Buggy. On play, put one of your opponent's characters at the bottom of your owner's deck. Yay! Brilliant. But then if you don't have 5 characters of a cost of 5 or more, you got to bottom deck this character. So what you really want to do is get 4 5 costs out and then play this. And obviously we got the leader skill here that lets you rest 5 Don and trash a card from your hand to play a cross-guild character from your hand. So the deal is that you get 4 5 cost characters out, and then you use your leader skill to play the 10 cost Buggy as a 5 cost Buggy, and that's how the deck works. And if they'd have given us this starter deck without the 10-cost Buggy, it would have been weird, because how are you supposed to do that? Like, the deck is built around 10-cost Buggy. And I know it's an obvious thing, and they kind of had to. I don't care. The fact that they've put this in is big. There's another thing that they've done, though, and this is another thing I was hoping they were going to do. They've put the promo Buggy in. The promo Buggy that cannot attack, but if your leader is Buggy, all characters of a cost of 3 or 4 cannot attack, and then on play you can play a cross-guild character of a cost of 6 or less from your hand. That is a phenomenal card. It makes a gigantic difference to the deck, and it's in there. And it was a promo, it was actually a pre-release promo. So it was absolutely possible that they would not put this in there, and yet they've actually gone and done it. As a fun little side note, remember the regular pre-release promo had a white border, and the winner pre-release promo had a stamp. This is actually slightly different to both the ones we got in the pre-release. It matches pretty much perfectly the one we got in the Japanese magazine, borderless with no stamp. This is what it looked like as a magazine promo in Japan. We never got this version. We get it now. And honestly, the fact that they're giving us the 10-cost Buggy and the promo Buggy, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Huge deal. Great thing. We absolutely adore this. So yeah, I cannot say enough nice things about this. Now, obviously, they're giving us a bunch of new stuff here, so we're not going to be able to get every card we used to play, and there are a bunch of cards we would generally play that we're not playing here. Like, obviously, the super rare Dracula Mihawk from OP09 is not going to be in there. We've got new super rares. That was never going to make it into the deck. Sorry about that. And the super rare Crocodile from OP09 was never going to end up in the deck, because we got new super rares. Although one of them we'll get to in a minute has Crocodile in. So, that's not too bad. But the point is, they've done pretty well here. So if we have a look at the other cards that have been reprinted, we've got the Mr. Free Galdino, which is your generic cross-guild searcher. Well, yeah, that's a staple in the deck, and now it's getting reprinted here. That's absolutely lovely. We've got ourselves Richie. Now, Richie hasn't been an absolute staple in the deck, admittedly, but it is a 2-cost cross-guild blocker, So in the early game, that is going to be very, very important. So, you know what? I'm going to allow it. Oh, and also, while we're here, we are playing the emoji that lets you search for a Richie and play a Richie. So, yeah, having Richie in the deck makes absolute perfect sense. I'm a big fan of this. We've got a reprint of a bunch of 5-cost characters. So the vanilla Mr. 1 Daz Bones, which does see a lot of play in Buggy anyway. That's in there. It should be in there. That's really, really cool. We've got Alvida. Now, this one actually doesn't always see play in the deck. This is the one where if your leader has cross-skill type, play a character of a cost of 5 or less other than Alvida from your hand. But I'm going to show you that 4 of the 5 new cards are 4-cost. So although Alvida doesn't necessarily see that much play in Buggy now, new Buggy with a bunch of 4-cost cards you want to play makes this Alvida a lot better, so it absolutely should be in there. We've got the Kabaji, which says if you've got Buggy or Moji, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. That one has been seeing play in these Buggy decks for a while now. And then we got Cross-Skilled, which just searches out Cross-Skilled cards, which admittedly also is not necessarily a staple in there, but you can see why it would be. Point is, looking at the reprints, I like what they've done. I really, really like what they've done here. And like I say, even popping in the Alvida, with this new build, it makes so much more sense. So what have we got in terms of new cards? Well, there's 2 I actually showed you the other day. I showed you the 4-cost Buggy, but bearing in mind the 5-cost Alvida can play this one quite nicely when it gets KO'd, which I like. Alvida plays a cost of 5 or less other than Alvida, and one of the new ones is Alvida. But having these 4 costs to go over all your 5 costs really, really helps. But it's got an activate main, trash a card from your hand and this character. And then if your leader is Buggy, which it will be, play up to 1 cross-skilled character card of a cost of 6 or less from your hand. So you can't play the promo Buggy or the 10-cost Buggy or the other new super rare, but everything else can be played here quite nicely. It's a very cool card. The other one we saw the other day was the Alvida. 4 cost 5k, counter plus 1,000. On play, if your leader is Buggy, draw 3 and trash 2. Great for consistency. But also, if you've got 2 or more characters of a base cost of 5 or more, this character gains +1 cost. Now that's very important because, of course, for the 10-cost Buggy, we need a field of 5-cost cards. This is a 4-cost card. But as long as you've got 2 original power 5-cost or more, you gain your 1 cost. Very important to note, you do need the 2 base cost 5. If you've got a full board of these 4-cost characters, they won't all buff themselves. But you can have, say, 3 of these, and then 2 5-cost or higher, naturally, base cost, and that will be fine. So what have we got in terms of actual new cards we've never seen before? Crocodile and Mihawk with phenomenal Basai artwork. And it's both slash and special because it's a double character. 8 cost 7k, no counter. On play, draw 2, trash 1. Love the consistency. And you get +1 in hand. Then play a cross-skilled character of a cost of 4 or less from your hand. If we didn't have all of these new 4 costs, it wouldn't make sense. But we do. So it totally does. Love this. On play, draw 2, trash 1, play a character. This is what the Buggy deck really wants to do. I'm not saying the new Buggy cards are going to make Buggy broken. I can't tell you that. What I am saying is it certainly seems to make the deck more consistent in filling your board of 5 costs, which, as I keep saying, is the goal of this Buggy deck. We've also got once per turn, if your cross-skilled character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may instead trash a card from your hand. And this is huge, because like I keep saying, we need to keep our 5 cost or higher on the board. So if our opponent is trying to remove something from the field, that could be bouncing it to hand, bouncing it to deck, trashing it, whatever, just trash a card from your hand. And I know the draw is a little bit of a pain, but remember Alvida's draw 3, trash 2, you end up 1 card up. Crocodile and Mihawk is draw 2, trash 1, you end up 1 card up. Another thing they're doing in this deck with these new cards is helping out your draw quite nicely. Not a coincidence. This seems like a very strong card. It's got draw power, you play a card for free, and you get to protect a card. Yeah, that looks nutty good. Then we've got Kabaji, 4 cost 1k, but we got counter plus 2000. So it's a cross skill, so it's a searchable 2k counter. And we had a little bit of 2k counter. We had Kabaji Emoji, the reprints, but having some more is always a good thing. And if you got 2 or more characters of a base cost of 5 or more, this character gains blocker and plus 1 cost. So very much like Alvida, it will be a 5 cost, but only if you've got 2 naturally 5 cost characters on the board to begin with. Lovely. Oh, and then it's a blocker as well. So you've got Richie as a blocker and you've got Kabaji. That's nice. You're going to need some blockers to keep things rolling in the early game. Plus, this allows you to have a blocker you can have on the board when you've got your 5/5 cost out, which is big. Oh, and on your opponent's turn it gains 5k. So on your turn, terrible attacker. But on your opponent's turn, it's just a 4-cost 6k blocker. It's your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill, vanilla stat line. But you got blocker and counter plus 2k, and you count with a 5 cost. Yeah, I mean, outside of Buggy, in Buggy, this card's nuts. Counter plus 2k, blocker, goes to 6k on your opponent's turn, and it counts as a 5 cost. Crazy good card. And then finally, we got another Moji, 4 cost 1k, counter plus 2000, another searchable 2k. If you got 2 or more characters with a base cost of 5 or more, this character gains blocker and plus 1 cost, exactly the same as Kabaji here. So we've now got 3 new 4 cost, which can count as 5 cost, and we've got 2 new blockers, both of which can be blockers on the board when you've got all your 5 cost out. Yes. And then on KO, if your leader is Buggy and you've got 3 or fewer cards in hand, you draw a card. Lovely. It's more draw. We need draw in this deck. We're playing a bunch of cards for free, which is great, but that does whittle down your hand size when you do it. Having extra draw is good. I think Bandai have nailed the assignment here. I think this is phenomenal. I think including the 10 cost Buggy and including the promo is exactly what they needed to do. I think they've made good decisions with the reprints, and I think the new cards are very good. I think Buggy's about to get a lot stronger, and that is awesome. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Good us? Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.